Annie Golden here for $2 late fee. I just talked Dustin and Zach's ear off. So if you want to hear what I had to say nonstop, tune in. $2 late fee. Worth every penny.
Annie, good morning or good afternoon to
Good
you.
afternoon.
To you. You're in New York City, right?
Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn. Yeah, I'm in my apartment in Brooklyn. Yeah.
Love it.
Oh,
Love it.
nice. You're looking fabulous, by the way.
Oh, thanks. I wanted to look fabulous.
Well,
You do
it's
look
working.
fabulous.
It's working.
You do look fabulous. So just some quick backstory. I think Zach knows this story, but you and I met because you were in a show that my brother Lance wrote along with some brilliant friends, Joe Iconis and Jason Sweet Tooth Williams, called Broadway Bounty Hunter. There it is, the picture behind you. An amazing show that I think is ahead of its time. Honestly, I think, it's a story about you. I mean, I remember when those guys were writing it and they were calling it, I believe they were calling it Annie Golden Bounty Hunter.
Annie Golden is the Broadway Bounty Hunter.
It is the Broadway Bounty Hunter.
I love that.
And that came along obviously because I think you and Joe had worked together and he was just so inspired by you that he was like, I'm writing you a musical.
I know. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. The Rhinebeck Writers Retreat asked them if they wanted to come up and do something. And they were like, we've been wanting to. And they said, come on up and do it. So.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, and that show was about you and being my favorite line is, you're a woman of a certain age.
Yeah.
And what happens when certain roles that you used to get were no longer available, and then you kind of dive into this world of being a bounty hunter with sort of blaxploitation themes and
Awesome,
incredible music. Ran off Broadway for not nearly as long as it should have. That's
you don't want to get me started on that.
Yeah.
My mentorship of new producers, young producers, was just dashed after that experience. It was a wonderful experience, and we did it also in concert at Joe's Pub, and then we got to do the album, which was miraculous, right before everything shut down for the pandemic. We did it in January, and everything shut down by March. So the album is there, and it's gorgeous, and the music is preserved for always.
It is
That's
gorgeous.
wonderful.
Zach, you dig it a lot. Actually, it's really great.
I remember when you had mentioned it, Dustin, on our interview with David Patrick Kelly, DP, and I was immediately curious about it, but knowing now a little bit more context, I'm more than curious. I want to listen to the whole soundtrack and album.
Well, it's kind of interesting because I just went to 54 Below to see Alan H. Green, who was my leading man, I had one of each. I had Brad Oscar as one leading man, and Alan H. Green as the other leading man. One guy the good guy, one guy the villain, and so who could ask for anything more as a woman of a certain age? But I was at Alan's cabaret evening, and people were saying to me, "Oh, I saw you in that show with Alan about your life," and I'm like, no, it wasn't about my life, because I've never been married. My husband did not fake his death and run a whorehouse and a drug cartel in Colombia. So no, it's not about my life. No.
Then their response goes, "Really? That didn't happen?"
Oh, no, actually that should be their response. But what their response is, they tell you about your work. They tell you about your career.
Right.
No, it was about your life.
Yeah.
No, it was your life. It was biographical.
No, you don't remember.
Oh, okay, whatever you say.
Getting mansplained
Right.
about your own life. Well, actually, your life is this story.
Well, I want to quickly interrupt and say, Annie, when we were getting ready to, it was before we had interviewed David Patrick Kelly. A video popped up on Instagram of you and David on a rooftop singing a song together, and it blew my mind. It was so beautiful, and I'm like, where is this album? And how is this going to get made? And when will this get made? Because you guys, it took me, it was such a magical experience seeing that song, and it really lifted me up. So I just wanted to give you mad props for that, because it was really wonderful.
It's kind of interesting that you say that, because it was actually the roof of the St. James Theater, which was unexpected Birdman, theater,
Right.
where Michael Keaton, when Emma Stone was up there with Ed Norton, and so
Right.
we went up there, and it was all DPK's idea. It was David's idea, because we made our Broadway debut together. I don't know if it was his, but it was mine. Broadway debut, and nobody wanted to talk about that.
And that was in Hair, right?
Yeah, publicity. The
Yeah.
first revival of Hair, which was actually a little too soon, but it was a device to garner interest in the movie being filmed on location in New York at that time.
Okay.
So they decided to remount the show, and it had just like closed 2 years before. So I was with David Patrick Kelly on that, and he followed the shirts, he followed my band, and so we did a mashup of a song from Into the Woods that the narrator sang, David's song, and one of my shirt songs.
So rad.
Yeah, it was David's idea. He played on his mandolin. He figured it out. It was amazing. And then we went one day in between shows and did it on the roof.
That's so cool.
It's really great. We're gonna repost that song, that
good.
video, when this interview comes out, and we'll make sure people gets more attention, because it deserves more attention. You deserve more attention. You are a wonderful performer, and sincerely, like, this is a big deal for us to have you on the show. I know it's been a little time coming, and I mean, I know we're kind of probably gonna jump all over the place, but the shirts is such an epic band. And can you talk a little bit about how that all came to be?
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Brooklyn, as did the other shirts, and our paths crossed at at a local bar on a weekend, and I was singing along with the jukebox, I think, and it was within the earshot of somebody, and he said, "Oh, we have a band, and I have
Amazing.
a band, and we have a storefront on 52nd Street and 8th Avenue in Brooklyn, and why don't you come by?" So I came by, and then we started doing covers. Then we started writing songs together. Then the next configuration of the next chapter of that band was to come out of the storefront and out of the local Brooklyn bars, because there was a scene happening across the Manhattan Bridge. And then we were on the cover of the Soho Weekly News, and we were included in a Village Voice, a feature about the scene that the Ramones, Blondie, Talking Heads, all came out of that CBGB scene.
Right.
So we were part of that. And that's how the shirts, came to be. And then Miloš Forman, Academy Award-winning film director from Czechoslovakia,
Of course.
Heard of him.
got his American citizenship while we were filming Hair in Central Park.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, it was the one day I wasn't called, and the assistant director said, "You're gonna want to come to work tomorrow." And I was like, "Oh, I'm not called." And he was like, "No, but you're gonna want to come at dinner time." And then I came, and they rolled down the hill. They rolled, a big cake for Miloš, and because he had been sworn in the morning, and
That's
was an American
fantastic.
citizen director as he was doing the film on location. He came down to CBGB's. I always say he was talent scouting or slumming, depending on
Or
how
both.
you look at it. And he picked he picked a few of us, and then we started doing that whole crazy process of going into a room and singing a song from Hair, and then dancing with Twyla Tharp, and I think I met my band for a sound check at CBGB's one day after crashing and burning with Twyla Tharp, and came in and said, I really wanted this, but I don't think I'm going to get it because I don't know how to dance, and I really think I started to want it, and that's really bad, and then I was cast. So, and that was 40 years ago. So
wait, so the Hair came out of the shirts, basically.
yes, I was discovered singing with the shirts. Yeah.
What sort of songs were you covering before, when you were just jamming with them back in the day?
Oh, mostly our favorites, like The Who, Jefferson Airplane, the Kinks. I mean, just that kind of stuff. Not the LA bands, the East Coast bands and the English bands. Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna give your career a lot of attention throughout the month of April, and drop in some live performances of the shirts that we can dig up, and because it's really some fun stuff, and it's really, in my opinion, you could put it on the radio today and people would go, what is this band? Who is this? Sign them to a label right now.
Yeah, okay, if you say so, Zach.
I mean, God, come on, like, that's for me though. That's for me. Like,
Yeah.
I dig. I'm eclectic in my musical tastes, and I just think that there's a huge nostalgia movement with like synth wave, and that's coming back into form, and there's a level of kind of punk rock coming back into form as well. So I think it's just a perfect time to kind of reintroduce that sound.
Yeah, well, there's plenty. I mean, if you go to YouTube, I'm always shocked that, you type in Annie Golden music, YouTube, and it's like it goes on forever. Well,
Boom.
it's over 40-year career, but
Right.
I'm just saying there's so much, because I had the shirts, and then I had my singer-songwriter duo in the 80s to the 90s, Golden Carrillo.
Right.
And then I had my own band doing the Golden Carrillo songs, reimagined with my band. And so it just keeps, and then you have guest soloists at 54 Below, or Joy Connor's Christmas Show, or you have all of that, Broadway Bounty Hunter, you have 54 Sings Pink, or all
Right.
these YouTube videos. It's like, damn, okay, all right, yeah. Goes on forever. I'm very, very fortunate.
Yeah, absolutely.
It must have been totally wild. And so when you land Hair, are you at that point, are you still performing with the shirts, or did things kind of
Oh yeah,
pivot?
no, yeah, it was, it was difficult because it's the rumor mill of she broke up the band, she became an actor.
Right.
No, that's not what
Right.
happened. But people telling you your life.
Exactly.
No, this is what
Well,
happened.
I
Yeah.
read, or they say,
Yeah.
this is way before social media.
Yeah.
So I flew the Concorde. I went to London to record for the shirts because it was signed by EMI.
Yeah.
And then we recorded for Capitol, but the first album was EMI. So I was filming on location in New York, Central Park, where I live. And then the band went to London to do their first record. So I was flying back and forth, and then I was like in default of a contract because I had signed saying I wouldn't leave the country.
Oh.
Because I never left the country before. So now I was leaving the country to do an album.
Right.
And so it was kind of it was a real learning curve. It was a real roll with the punches, and it's like dream come true, but not running smoothly.
Right, never is.
Yeah. So it was
you-
that. And then I came up with the shirts, and I was in Hair, and then I met all that. Peter Gallagher was in that cast with me. Charlene Woodard was in the cast. Ellen Foley, DPK, was in the cast with me, and to this day we're all still friends. So
Love
that's
that.
great.
That's
And
wonderful.
and then I came upon Mark Shaman and Scott Whitman, and then I came up with them, theater composers and theater people. And I was at the Old Globe in San Diego, working on the Full Monty for David Yazbek, who played with Urban Blight, his band at CBGB's. And I walked into a room to audition for Terrence McNally and Jack O'Brien and this first time Broadway composer. And he says, I used to play with your band at CBGB's. And I said, oh, what was your band? He goes, Urban Blythe. And I go, oh, the horns. You had a horn section. And he was like, oh my God, you know? And I said, I have horns at CBGB, So, and so then that happened. And I came back to New York, and Mark Shaman called me and said, I'm working on something. Can you come by the house? And I want to demo some stuff. I want to see if it's any good. And I was like, well, I'm not quick. And, I don't read. And he goes, no, you do by ear. I'll play it for you. You'll sing it. We'll record it. I said, oh, okay. Well, I'm supposed to go to Joe's Pub tonight. And this is the beginning of Joe's Pub. So let's go to Joe's Pub tonight to see David Yazbek, Jason Daniely, and Roman Forget are his guests. And we just did Full Monty out there, and I'll get you. You'll be done in time. You'll be done. So my life was just suddenly like all colors mesh. Like
what
Wild.
a whirlwind! My God.
Wild.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't all set out on a path of going. Some people do that. I'm going to be this when I grow up. I'm going to be that when I grow up. Did you envision yourself being? Were you musically inclined as a younger person? Like, were you somebody that was like, this is my career I want to do. This is what I want to do as a career.
No, working class, oldest of 6 kids. So
6 kids.
Yeah. So no college.
Yeah. Right.
Work, secretary working in an office. And the dream you dare not dream. I watched a movie every week with my dad, so you watch the same movie every night,
right?
Memorize it, but it was something I didn't even utter, something I didn't even speak. But I mean, in grammar school, I was in the choir. I didn't try out for the choir. I was just singing a Christmas song when a teacher was teaching it to us. Went to Catholic school. When a teacher was teaching us, and she was writing the lyrics on the board, and the melody went out of her head, and she turned around and said, what did we just say? What does anybody remember? And I raised my hand, and I said, well, child. She goes, you're starting too high. I said, what? She goes, you're starting too high. You'll never get through it. And I went, well, child, these days away to red green sleeves. And and she was shocked, because she sang it to us once, and I sang it back to her. And then she called the choir teacher into the room and said, I'd like you to hear this. And I sang it for her, and she said it. She went, isn't that too high? She goes, it's not. I said, oh, did you start too high? No, she won't listen. And then we just, so I was in the choir, and my father sang at family events, and my father had a band, and he was the drummer and the singer. And so,
cool.
So there was that. But when the oldest girl gets in a band and is not there to watch the little ones, then there, so it was always, my career always had like a give and a take. It was like, oh, well, I'm doing something I want to do. Oh, well, what is that going to cost me?
Right.
And how am I going to have to navigate that, And so, but the blessings just keep coming. I mean, Into the Woods, me and Stephen Sondheim were like this. If he was ever going to write a song for a soprano and cast me, she would definitely have to be called Squeaky.
Oh man.
So Stephen and me, and Rock Chick is Stephen Sondheim's Squeaky Fromm, and then she's Cinderella's mother at the grave. It's really amazing, and it was nominated for a Grammy, and we won. So cast album.
Yeah.
Congratulations. So you're saying that essentially musical theater was never really on the radar. That was just something that you pivoted into.
Yeah, well, that was, I mean, at the time that I came up, 1977, that, that never the twain shall meet. I mean,
Right.
Yes.
actors didn't do commercials.
No,
Actors
we
didn't do voiceover work. Actors
no.
didn't, if you were movie, you were movie. If you were
Right.
TV, oh, you're television, your sitcom. And
Exactly.
then
Yep.
theater was the other thing.
Right.
So, you know, so when I was coming up, everything was very uh, compartmentalized. Everybody had their own little niche. And then I don't read music. I have to hear it to learn it. That's kind of wasn't happening at that point. Still isn't really happening. But if you have a good ear, that's better, than reading. And I used to sit in the wings at the St. James Theater every night and just listen to that orchestra on stage.
Mm.
Just every night. But also the audience response of Into the Woods was like a rock concert.
Yeah.
You just lost Stephen, and then it moved from encores. It moved from City Center to St. James, and it was like a rock concert. So it was really, I was like, yeah, okay, now my two worlds have collided.
Right. Right. Now that we're so far removed from, well, I mean, our big thing is like we're talking about, all these movies from 1984 that we're now in the 40th anniversary of this year, and it's just absolutely mind-blowing.
Yes.
And of course, one of those movies, not to segue, but I'm going to segue, is 16 Candles.
Yeah.
A pivotal John Hughes movie for many, many, many generations, actually. But the soundtrack is a bit of a conundrum to us in the sense that the movie itself has over 30 songs, but only 5 of those songs made it onto what they were calling a mini soundtrack, an actual release.
Right.
And one of those songs is your great Hang Up the Phone, which we love.
It's amazing.
You.
Yeah.
Incredibly catchy, has withstood the test of time. You have an incredible music video, but I'm curious, like, sort of how that came about and how that song, actually got released. And then, like, do you know anything as far as the releasing of the soundtrack?
Oh, I know. I was in on the whole,
Okay, amazing.
Okay.
I mean, I was on Broadway in Leader of the Pack for Ellie Greenwich at that time.
Okay.
So again, it's like a girl group theater, musical theater, Broadway, and we were the first jukebox musical. So it was thought to be an abomination.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this is an abomination. Pop music coming to
Abomination.
How dare they?
Yeah. Hello, Jersey boys and beautiful, and the list goes on.
Right.
So we were on Broadway in Leader of the Pack, and we had started at the Bottom Line downtown, and then we moved, and Ellie just one day, said to me, listen, Jimmy Iovine called me last night, and he's working on a soundtrack for a John Hughes movie, and he's doing this song, and he recorded it with several people, but he just doesn't think it's not happening. So he called me and said, you got any ideas? And he sent me the song, and he sent Ellie the song. Ellie said he sent me the song, and I went, oh, have I got a gal for you? And then we went into the studio, Ellie and I, for Jimmy, and Jimmy Iovine was on the phone. This is before Zoom or anything. He was on the phone,
Right.
and he was producing it. And then we went back to the theater. We went back home. I went back to my work. I went back to my life. And then they wanted to release it, and then they wanted to do a video. And as with I was so much younger then, not 86, but you're still up against the, well, what does she look like?
Right.
Haven't seen her in a while. All those CBGB's days, and so I had to show up at the last minute and, look my girl group, my pop best. And then we did a video, and when Salento choreographed, and Howie Deutsch, who has a hit show on ABC now, Will Trent, Howie Deutsch directed it. His daughter,
wow, okay.
Joey Deutsch, and he married Leah Thompson. And because I'm a savant, like I remember things and I connect things, and it's not just me. It's like whose family, who met and fell in love, and that's the story. And so Howie Deutsch directed, Wayne Salento and Ed Love choreographed, and that video is, but when we were doing the video, even I said, at the end, I realized, not to give anything away for the video, but at the end I realized, wait a second, the surprise party that we're arranging is for my character, and she's supposed to be 16. I said, nobody's going to buy that. They said, no, listen, trust us. I was like, okay, because I don't want to commit career suicide. And they went, no, trust us. And then there was stuff like, the hairdos that they were using on the dancers, and Bob Fosse's daughter was one of the dancers.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I was hanging out at rehearsal with her, and I said something like, your name is, Fosse? I said, and you're a dancer? Wow, that must be, and me, rock chick, trying to be like in theater world.
Yeah.
I said, wow, that must be really hard. I mean, maybe you should change your name to Verdon. And then Wayne Salento said to me, she thought you were being cute because that is their daughter. I was like, oh my God.
That's hilarious.
Oh God. So,
right.
And just stuff like that happens, is really wonderful, and makes for wonderful, memories, and, just that we did that video and it became very popular. And thank you, Ira Newborn, who wrote the song, and it was just great.
Well, I have to say too that like we said, there's only 5 songs on that soundtrack. And your song stands out, obviously. Well, there's your song and then the Thompson Twins song,
right.
If You Were Here, right? And
I think Brian Setzer's on that.
Brian Setzer and Patti Smith is on there, which is great. But it's really your song and the Thompson Twins song are featured prominently in the movie, to the point where it's a part of the storyline versus just being in the background. Right. And Dustin and I both were commenting on how great that was, that your song got such prominence, because it should. It's a great song. Like you said, Dustin, it's super catchy. It's fun. It's very upbeat. I listened to it about 10 times yesterday when we were getting ready to record for 16 Candles. But do you have any idea why only 5 songs wound up on that soundtrack?
Well, that kind of stuff I didn't know about, and also, I mean, I could say, I was busy on Broadway. I was busy making, Broadway history with the first, song cycle, song catalog, pop music to a story, kind of a musical. But I didn't really know, and I shared a dressing room with the great Darlene Love. I got to meet everybody.
Wow.
I met Cher, I met Jackie DeShannon, Paul Schaefer, I already knew because he had done Leader of the Pack downtown at the Bottom Line.
Oh, wow.
Martha Quinn came in, Eddie Van Halen, Valerie Burton, everybody came into that dressing room for Darlene. So I got to meet everybody. So, but after I did it, it was like hit it and quit it. And I was like, oh, thanks, Ellie, for thinking of me. Thanks. And then suddenly I started getting calls like, you have to show up and we want to meet you. And can you come now? And, and so I came, and then we did that video and we had a blast. And Terry Klausner, who was a Tony Award winner for Broadway, is one of my girlfriends getting me ready for the, for the party. So it's, it really was just like all colors and everything was coming together. Everything was cross-pollinating, if you want to say. And so I didn't know anything about the decisions that they made.
Okay.
Well, okay, that's totally fine. But I think what I'm also focused on or thinking about is this generation doesn't understand what it's like to go into a recording studio back in the day and have someone patched in via phone, and you're on a reel to reel, or, and nowadays it's just like, oh, do a million takes of it. We'll just, we can cut out what we don't like. We can edit this and just place this in. It's a totally different story back in the day when you recorded a song or recorded anything in particular back in the 80s. And it's, to me, I'm fascinated by that. A good friend of ours owns Westlake Recording Studios here in Los Angeles, and showing the original boards where they used to record some of these iconic albums in the 80s, right? And so can you talk a little bit about that process of going in to record, well, Hang Up the Phone, for example. You said you patched Jimmy Iovine, who, if people don't know who that is, that's another name that's just legendary in the music business, right?
Yeah, they have to sing. They have to see the Dr. Dre documentary, and then they'll Jimmy's in there.
The beats.
Yeah. So was it easy to record that song? Did it just bingo bango, or did it take several takes, or what?
Well, it was she said, I'll get the song to her, and I'll send you something. And then she got the song to me. Ellie got the song to me. I sort of learned it, and then and then the big mistake. It sounds like, hey, you can't hurry love. Okay, all right, yeah, okay, fine.
Totally.
I think so. So
it's better. It's better than that.
And
it's
then,
better than that.
And then she sent something to Jimmy, and Jimmy said, "Yeah, let's plan a day." And and Ellie goes, "Are you going to come in?" And he goes, "Well, I'll call me and I'll be there." And so that's how we did it. And it was just me doing it and saying, "How was that? What do you think about that?" And then he would say, "That growl you did, or that squeal you did, or can you or he'd say, "Ellie, get her to do that again." So it was like once or twice removed, but the fact that we got it done is just because I'm in the band with my studio. I'm in the studio with my band. I know how to do it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I love that you're learning that everything's by ear. I both Dustin and I dabble in music, and and everything's been by ear for me. I've never been self-taught, and I'm all self-taught, when it comes to that stuff.
Okay, great. Yeah.
And it's hard for me to read sheet music. My son is in choir. He comes home and he's showing me his sheet music for the songs that he's learning. And he's like, "This is what," I'm like, "What's that mean?" He's like, "Well, that's where you go high and that's where you go low." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. I'm learning all these things from you now."
That's a quarter note. That's a quarter note.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was.
Quarter note. I was when I first got into theater music, I would be in a cast where people had their scores open.
Yeah.
And the musical director would say, "That's a quarter note, and hold that for 4 beats," and I would just write everything in like a cheat. And then I started to be like, well, I don't read, and I'd be like, I think you forget I don't read, and then I got over that, where I said, just fake it till you make it. Just don't tell them, don't remind them that you don't read. If they forget that you don't read and they tell you we're at bar 36, find bar 36 and just, fit in.
Right.
So learn by doing,
And you didn't get it. I mean, you've obviously had a storied career since then. So it didn't intimidate you to the point where you turned around and walked away.
Well, it was the dream I dare not dream. It dropped in my lap. It was a gift.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna, bite the hand that fed me. I just was like, this is a gift. Miloš Forman seems to think I can do this. I'm gonna freaking do it, and I'm gonna make it work. And he even pulled me out of I was in the revival on Broadway doing theater games and learning, sponge, learning theater. And then he pulled me from the cast because he said, she's too savvy now. She's getting savvy. I don't want to.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
So he did me that favor. He was like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to pull you from the show. And I was
Okay.
like, oh, why? And he was like, well, we're gonna be shooting days and nights, and I want you fresh, and I want you. I want who I saw. I don't want who's got this opportunity and is,
Yeah.
learning things.
Interesting.
You're a little too polished. And of course, like nothing can really prepare you for like the 7 or 8 nights a week, shows, right? So like physically, that's probably a whole learning process too, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I guess it is. I mean, if you sing with a rock band and you're the only girl and the guys are wailing behind you and you don't use monitors, you use the room sound coming back at you.
Yeah.
That's kind of trial by fire anyway.
Right. Right.
And so like when I started doing theater stuff, or I started doing cabaret stuff, and they would have the monitor in front of me, and I go, yeah, no, I don't need that. I don't just the piano in there. I don't need my voice in there. And they were like, oh, you don't need to hear your voice. I said, no. It's like right there. It's like in your, you have to have one ear off on the, the headphones.
Yeah.
So it's just me organically how I do things. I do my own thing. But then how I adjusted with the opportunities that I was being given,
Yeah.
That's really,
I want to segue a little bit into your acting career, specifically in the 80s, because you suddenly, and we have a question later on when we have a segment called $2 6 questions from fans and listeners, in regards to one movie from the 80s, but you started doing quite a few projects, and one that stands out to me obviously is Miami Vice, because it's iconic. I think I wanted to be Don Johnson when I was a kid, to the point. Yeah, right. I'm like, can I have a 5 o'clock shadow at 10 years old or 15? How did you go from, like, can you talk a little bit about how you got into the bulk of your acting career in the 80s? Did you start to, like, was that a focus for you? Oh, I want to start doing movies. I want to start doing film projects because of hair, or what?
I was kind of, thrown into it. I kept saying, again, like in the musical theater rehearsals, if I don't read, I would kind of say stuff like, I'm a singer. I'm not an actor. I don't do. And so people were like, oh no, but you are, singers who act are singers who story tell. And my idols were Judy Garland, Edith Piaf, Frank Sinatra, David Bowie, those pop stars who did concerts, who did albums, who did movies,
right,
who did comedy, musicals, and drama.
Yeah.
So that was again, the dream I dare not dream was I was suddenly thrown into, like I remember sitting in a waiting room for Candide, and someone said, what are you doing here? And I was like, I don't know. What do you mean? Like, oh, well, are you going to sing today? And I was like, they told me to bring a song. And they're like, oh, because I don't know that Candide is for you. So all of that, like I didn't even know I was being dissed.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you doing here? I don't know. I just showed up, So it was really, my first agent was at William Morris Agency, and he was an assistant, and he brought me in for a meeting because my band had played his high school orientation day.
Oh, really?
That's wild. Orientation.
What?
That's the connection there.
That guy is now thanked by Meryl Streep when she picks up Oscars and stuff.
Oh my God.
Kevin Huvane was my agent because I played his high school orientation.
That's wild.
And then William Morris signed me, and then I, and then the guy who cast Cheers, Jeff Greenberg, he was a fan of mine. So when they were looking for a steady girlfriend for Cliff Clavin, that you could be quirky, but it had to be based in authenticity, not just quirky for the sake of quirky.
Right.
And he told the writers he was thinking of me, and they were like, yeah. And so, I was sent for that. And Miami Vice with Sandra Bernhard was Tommy the mechanic.
Yep, yep.
Talk about Mutt and Jeff. When I got there, they tried to put me in her costumes, and she's this big and this tall,
Right.
this lean and this tall. And so that
What?
wasn't working. So they got me my own costumes. But apparently, you know, she either there was a conflict and they had like an arc for that character, and she was only available for some of it. So then
Yeah.
she was out and I was in at the last minute. But I was downtown being Audrey in Little Shop of Horrors at that time.
It's so wild.
So I had to go to Miami on my day off. You know, it was crazy.
I want everyone who's listening, watching, I really want them to replay those last 30 seconds of you speaking, because you never know what you do in life that will get you to where you are in the future, right?
Absolutely.
You never know those little moments. That's mind-blowing.
Perfect example is I got to work with the great Barry Manilow and Bruce Sussman. I was doing my Golden Carrillo duo, singer-songwriter duo. So, you know, it was the unplugged thing happening. And
Yeah.
it was with two voices and guitar, boy and girl and guitar. And we were writing songs and playing at CBGB's, playing next door at CBGB's Cafe. Went to Holland and went on the Star Tales of the shirts, what they had built there in Holland. And I was doing Golden Carrillo, and I had auditioned a singing audition that they filmed, a casting agent, and then she said to Barry, "Are you thinking Bernadette Peters? Are you thinking Bernadette Peters? Because I have something I'd like to show you."
Yeah.
And then she showed him my singing audition for something else that she had. And he called me, and I was on Pebble and the Penguin soundtrack for him, and opposite Martin Short and Tim Curry
Right.
and Jim Belushi. And so it is, every time you walk in the room, when I do a master class, I say, you know, thank them for seeing you, congratulate them on getting their project done.
Yeah.
When you leave, wish them luck with it and thank you for seeing you, and leave, because you're on their radar now. And if you're not right for that, you might be right for something else.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
leave the room and they say what a
Yes.
revelation he or she was, or what a delight they are, because you're also auditioning. I said, listen, if you walk into a room and somebody answers their phone, or someone's eating their salad while you're singing for them, maybe you don't want to work with them.
Yes.
Like that.
Right.
How
Yes.
about that?
That's
You know,
a
I
great
try to
attitude.
empower people. Like, you know, you go in because you're so scared, and it's like, choose me, pick me, choose me. And then you say, okay, so I want to accomplish this with the song I'm singing. I want to make their day, because we're all singing the same song all day long. They've heard it sitting out there. I've heard it 3 times already. How am I going to put my spin on it? Okay, so just make their day when you walk in.
Yeah.
And so that really has, you know, that has come to pass, that you get on people's radar and then they remember you.
I just love these stories so much, and the themes of gratitude and appreciation.
And respect.
Respect. Yes,
Yes.
of course.
That's
But
important.
I didn't see this coming. Like Zach asked me, I didn't see it coming. It was a gift, and it landed in my lap, and other people who pay for school and train, and that lends a different onus on it. It
does.
Responsible, but me, it was a gift, and I'm going to run with it, and I'm going to be happy to be here.
Yeah. And the experience that you're talking about, you know, for any of us that are, you know, in the acting profession or whatever, the auditioning through lunch, you know, as you call it, somebody's eating their salad because they don't have time to even break for an official lunch, and they're going to take care of their own little private business while you're also, you know, singing for them or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But that's such a good, you know, these aren't personal things that happen. You know,
Right.
we shouldn't take them personally, right? But
it's just to empower kids who walk in, or, you know, anybody who's terrified or saying, pick me, or I
Yeah.
want to be your choice, or I want to, then you flip it on and you go, okay, well, this is my time now when I walk in.
Right.
And I'll clock and I'll forgive that you didn't get a lunch break, but you did keep me waiting for 40 minutes. And now I'm coming in with a delivery man.
Right.
So how much attention are you really going to focus?
Mhm.
Are you really going to be able to give me if you're so malnourished? You know, it's that.
Yeah.
And it's also tongue in cheek. It's not self-important. It's just, oh, just my luck. Okay. You
Yeah,
get
it's a
40
both and.
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
okay. It's fine. You know,
And there's a level of resilience too that you're speaking about, you know,
Yeah.
this idea of like you've had a career for 40 plus years and it's phenomenal, and you've weathered many a storm, I'm sure, but
yes.
here you are with us to talk about it all, or to talk about aspects of it, and essentially, and how wonderful is that the idea of resilience, that if you believe in yourself, if you persevere, if you don't give up, if you have gratitude, all those elements that you're speaking about, we're speaking about, it's all put together. You have to have the whole thing.
Yeah, it has to connect the dots, and it has to go somewhere upwards, not downwards. It can't go to
Right.
bitterness. It can't go to entitlement. It can't
Right.
go to being fed up. It has to be, you could only keep doing it if you can't not do it. If there's something else you'd rather do and somewhere you'd rather be, then you should be there, not here, because Christ knows it ain't easy. You know, and that's just what it is. And I can
Amen.
imagine during the pandemic and all these young people graduating via Zoom.
Right.
You know, now we're doing self-tapes. Now we're doing, it's so, I can't even imagine trying to network when no one's in the room. We're not going into the room anymore.
It's a whole other animal. It's a whole other
Yeah.
animal.
Nope. All these old school casting directors will even say, like, if you have the opportunity to get in the room, take it. Just take it,
Yeah.
because you're right. And it is so isolating. And, as a voice actor, like 98% of what we do is in a little box, and we're
Yes.
sending
Right.
out,
Yeah.
auditions into the ether. You mentioned something about giving master classes. Is that something that you do regularly?
I did it for the Einhorn School for the Performing Arts over Primary Stages. I was on staff with them
Love it.
for a couple
Okay,
of
cool.
years, and I really enjoyed doing that. And then my girlfriend had a musical theater school or program in Randolph, New Jersey, for kids, for children.
Oh, great.
And she would bring me in occasionally as guest star, or star tutor, and the parents loved that. And it was really it was wonderful to be doing that. And then my girlfriend's school at Randolph, New Jersey.
That's
That's
wonderful.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I really loved it. Yeah.
We have a segment on our show called $2 6 questions. It's questions from listeners, fans. It's 6 questions, and we're just gonna hit them at you. Okay?
Okay. Does it have to be rapid fire, or can I?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right.
Take your time.
Yeah. Okay.
And thanks for asking that, because I used to say it's rapid fire, and like, no, wait, it's not rapid fire.
I'd be
Take
like,
as much
yeah,
time
no,
as you
now I'm
want.
getting nervous. Now I'm getting nervous. Okay, yeah.
So Teresa LeBrock, she's a fan of yours. She wants to know about your time with Desperately Seeking Susan. And can you speak a little bit about Desperately Seeking Susan?
Yeah. I had originally auditioned for the Anna Thompson role from Madonna's friend, roommate that she imposes upon, right?
Okay.
The magician's assistant, but she went with Madonna chose Anna, and then Susan Sodelman said, we have this I just have to do this cross with Robert Joy and Aidan Quinn, and I have to do, his band is leaving, and I need a band. And I went, okay. So we went one morning, Central Park, sat in the makeup chair, got there. Susan said, just say something, the band is unloading. from the van. So if you could just, think of something to say while I said, yeah, okay, I'll think of something to say. And I said my famous Piss with Flies monologue, where it was festival. We were going to a festival and I was bitching because, you guys can piss in bottles. I have to piss with flies, so, the portisan. So that was my famous Piss with Flies monologue from
Amazing.
Suddenly Seeking Susan, that she, and then Robert and I went home on the subway after we did it that morning. We were at the band shell in Central Park. We're at the
Okay.
band shell. And then and then we were walking to the train, and his hair is spiked and I'm all made up, and and he goes, oh my God, did Susan write that for you? And I went, no, she just said say something. He said, she said say something and you said that.
Oh my
And I went,
God.
well, I've been in a rock band, so if it's festival seating, you have to wait online for the portisan, and it's by the end of the day, it's even at the start of the day, it's not
Oh,
very good. So that's my Piss with Flies monologue
I
from
love it.
Desperately Seeking
It's
Susan.
amazing.
That's hilarious. So our next question comes from our patron, Magdalena, our wonderful patron. And I think we're going to have to do a two-parter here because obviously you are very well known to most folks these days from Orange is the New Black.
Yes, yes.
And your role as the wonderfully adorable mute Norma Romano. So we're certainly very curious about that, I think, as sort of a part one, but that's very broad. But she is specifically curious what some of your favorite books are.
Books. No, I
So
say that because I'm like, I remember reading Midnight Cowboy. I remember being on the subway as a young woman and weeping from Midnight Cowboy. So, and
mhm.
of course, the movie was rated X when it came out, which, I went on a date to see that too. But the book killed me. But I read scripts. I study sides. To Kill a Mockingbird. It's kind of like the classics.
Yeah.
I don't really sit with a book. I have to tell you, I don't. I do like biographies, though. I read a biography of Clara Bow by David Sten, the silent screen star. And then I actually, Frank Carrillo had a song. He read the same book. And when I met him before we started our duo writing and working together, we had read the same book.
Oh, wow.
Oh, cool.
And it was called Running Wild.
I'm going to hit you with another question.
Okay.
What's your favorite Judy Garland movie and why?
Wow. A Child is Waiting with Burt Lancaster. It's a really, it's a rarity. She's working in a special needs school, and she becomes too attached to one of the boys. It's called A Child is Waiting.
Yeah.
And it was in the 60s, so it's black and white. It was really a politically charged activism movie because it was these are our children. We can't discard them, and we can't leave them. They have special needs, and we can bring out their potential. And she's just a music teacher, so it's not like there's no big music numbers or anything. It's just a black and white movie.
Right. That's why I asked that question, because I knew we'd get a deep cut from you. So
That's great. And I just wanted to follow up about Orange is the New Black because I feel like our audience would love to hear this.
please, yeah.
Whose high school orientation did you have to play to get that role, or which bar mitzvah did you play?
Yeah, I think I was away with Joe doing Black Suits with Ben Platt.
Okay.
Ben Platt and Will Rowland and Harrison's dad. Yeah. I think it was the first time we did Black Suits. And then I came back to New York, and Jen Houston, the casting agent, asked to see me. And she had said, there was like a note to actresses, no glamour. You're playing inmates. No, no glamour. Don't do the dog and pony show. Don't get dolled up. So when I walked in to the audition, I said, well, you want it ugly, you got ugly. And she was like, I don't, which says a lot about women.
Yeah.
And actresses, because she said to me, everyone's been saying that. Everyone's been saying, here I am ugly, or here I am plain Jane, or here I am, my career is over. And,
Right.
so I said, well, that says a lot about us, and how we've been trained to think. And, so I came in, and she said this would go at this time, and are you here? And I said, oh, I just got back from doing something. So yeah, I came home to nothing. I got nothing. I wasn't auditioning, so I was away, and now I'm back. And also I realized I was putting my foot in my mouth, because we're always trained to say, oh, I got this going on, I got that going on.
Yeah, right.
And meanwhile, I was going, I got nothing.
I got nothing.
But that was so great, because then I was available. So
right.
So I auditioned for Beth Fowler's role,
Okay.
the activist nun. And then I left, and the story goes, Jen said to me that she showed my my audition to Genji, and Genji said, that's Annie Golden. And Jen said, yeah, and she's available. And Genji said, can you turn the sound down on that? And Jen was like, okay. And she turned the sound down. She goes, you know what, call Annie's people back and tell them that I'm offering her Norma Romano. And Jen goes, I have no breakdown. I have no sides. I don't have that character. And she goes, no, I'm going to write it for Annie.
Whoa.
Wow.
And it was that Piper had told Genji a story of a woman who survived in prison by other people speaking for her. She was a traumatic mute, and she was beloved, and so people would protect her and step up for her, because she would not speak for herself.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And then Genji had the device of, okay, well, how about the person? And this is a Leah Delaria story. We're sitting at Video Village. You're getting a big bang for your buck, Magdalena. We're sitting at Video Village, and Leah's got her phone, and she's showing all the young ones YouTubes and stuff. And Genji goes, "What are you doing there, Leah?" And she said, I'm showing everybody. Here, I'll show you what I'm showing. And it was me at CBGB's. He was like, oh, and she said, yes, I'm going, 40 guesses. Who's that? Who is that? And people are going, is it Annie? Is it? She goes, yeah, that's Annie. So Genji on top of that says and I'm sitting right there. And Genji says to Leah, hey, Leah, what do you think about the first time we hear Norma utter a sound she sings? And that's how I found out what Genji
man.
was.
I had chills from that.
It's
I
amazing.
know, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that is really cool.
But that was me, and that was girlfriends, and that was not knowing what was, down the pike, and that Genji took this idea that Piper gave her.
Amazing.
And then she spinned it into some kind of wonderful entertainment milestone for me and for my fans, and for people never expecting that, the chatterbox doesn't have any lines.
Right. Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was a deep. It always is, Dustin. Your brother can tell you that too. Lance can tell you. I have your family here with me. I have the Groundhog Day right here with me.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, they're the boys.
Sylvester and Roger and Katie and Lance.
Right on. That is so
cute.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to send you a Christmas card. From my mom, Carol McKee, she wants to know what is one of your favorite concerts that you've ever been to?
That I've attended?
That you've attended, yeah.
Wow. Favorite concert. Well, I was a secretary at ABC TV, and we had the Dick Cavett show.
Yeah.
and David Bowie was his guest. And I went across the street to the hotel where they had it set up, and Bowie was going to play a few songs.
Man.
And that was, I went over there, and he sat and spoke with Dick for a while.
No
And then
way.
he got up and he sang, I think, Golden Years. I think it was that time, Golden Years.
Yeah.
The Thin White Duke period. I don't know. I could be wrong, but yeah. So that was because it wasn't really a con. It was,
No, that's a
I
live
worked in
performance.
the office, and they went, "Come on over. Yeah, you can come over. Come over. They want some people here. Come."
Right.
So
That's a good day.
I saw that.
Oh my gosh. My wife used to work at Yahoo, and she was in the Yahoo music area, and they had people in this small little like office room come in and perform to promote their records. And Lady Gaga came in one time. A small little room that holds maybe 3 or maybe 6 people total, you
Yeah.
know. So that's any sort of live performance, but what you got was so special, so
And
unique.
also, like, I guess your wife would be like, no sound system.
No,
Gaga would be
no
sitting there,
acoustic or
at
whatever.
the piano or with a mic, but no, like, none of the,
Insane.
they were ready for David, and his band was there in his
Of
backup.
course. Yeah.
But it looked like he was just, sitting on the couch talking, and then all of a sudden he said, "Could you do a Dick? Could you give us a little something?" And then he was like, yeah. So
That's magical.
Yeah.
Magical. Yeah.
I guess.
Awesome.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll wrap it up with a segment with one more question, basically wondering, what do you have an example of a risk that you took on an audition that paid off?
A risk that I took.
I mean, even you saying, like, in your previous story, kind of even talking about like, I've got nothing going on.
I mean,
could
that's
arguably be risky.
Yeah. I got
Right.
nothing.
I got nothing. I'm available, totally available. Hire me.
Yeah. I'm not doing that. Well, I even think, like, as I was just saying, when I do a masterclass, I say, tell them, thank you for seeing me. You're getting your project done. Best of luck. Congratulations. All of that, if they're not nice people, or if they're not, they could think that was hubris,
Right.
So that could backfire for somebody who's not me. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I understand that that's the way I work, but I also have to understand that when I walk in the room, I'm Annie Golden. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
So I could be steering a kid right to, career suicide, by saying, but
No.
yeah, no, I don't. I think when I sang for Stephen for Squeaky, I sang a song. It was my own, song. So that was a risk. And everybody
Yes.
was going, "What is she singing? I don't know this song." And Steve was like, "Shh," and I sang it. And then I actually said to him, he said, well, "That's very interesting. Who do you listen to? Who do you like to listen to?" So right away I said, well, I have my own band. So I mean, like, I wrote that song, and so I was totally comfortable with him.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
that
Yeah.
anybody would say, "Well, you just shot yourself in the foot."
Right.
100%. Yes.
But then I said to him, he said, "Who do you listen to?" And I said, "Well, I don't really listen, like you said, books." I said, "I don't really read books, So I said, "Well, I don't really listen to people because, I have my band, I write my own songs." I said, "But there's this, and I knew he was trying to say, I need to know your voice, and if I'm going to write for you, I need to know, So I
Yeah.
said, there's this singer in England that I don't know if too many people know her here in America, but her name is Kate Bush. And I really like her because she sings like a little girl, and then she sings like a banshee. And I find that very exciting." And he went, "All right, okay, thank you. Thank you for coming in." And then it was a lock after that. He told Jerry Zaks he wanted to make a Squeaky.
Amazing.
So I think that was very risky. But I think I sort of said, I don't have a chance in hell to be hired for this.
Nothing to lose. Yep.
Yeah. Nothing to lose.
But actually, you know, Sweeney Todd is bloody, you know, and this was Assassins. And I was like, there's no way Stephen Sondheim is going to hire me. I don't sing like that.
Right.
I don't do that.
Yes.
But the fact that I told him Kate Bush, and then he came back and wrote, I Am Unworthy of Your Love, it's exactly what I told him. I sang like a little hippie chick, and then all of a sudden I sang like a psychotic, follower, like a misguided zealot.
It's such a good show. Yeah.
And that was right. That was right in his wheelhouse. That's exactly what he needed to know. And I just, and my mantra is just must trust. That's what you just must trust. If you think you misstepped, or if you think you offended, or if you think you shot yourself in the foot, or you just must trust that they will know that your intentions were not hubris. You were not full of yourself. You were really genuine when you said, congratulations, you're getting your project done, because not everybody does. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And also deep cut again with Kate Bush back in the day, because that would not be a typical response people would give.
And now she's back. I'm so happy that it's
likewise.
And also the shirts opened for Peter Gabriel on tour.
Yes.
We opened for Peter Gabriel on tour, and then they did that duet "Don't Give Up." And it's really it's everything. It's eyes wide open and heart wide open, and just
love it. Annie, this is so special, and I think Dustin mentioned it. I think we're gonna have to do a follow-up or a part 2 down the road, because we could talk to you for a couple more hours at least.
What we'd love to do is get you and DPK on together.
Oh, that would be great.
Do your stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because we have some behind the scenes stories too, because I think they were asking him, they wanted him to wear a wig as Claude, and I didn't know, and I was just being my cheerleader self, So I just went, oh, that would be good. That would be a wig would be good. And then I looked at him and he gave me daggers, and I went, oh, shut him.
Oh my God.
Actor's decision, he's going to be so mad at you.
Amazing.
But he didn't. He understood. He was like, yeah, no, you don't say anything. Don't have an opinion.
No wig.
Opinion until you talk to me.
No wig opinions.
And it wasn't a boy-girl thing. It was like an actor to actor. You don't know. They're trying to convince me, and they're doing it in earshot of you. And they know you're gonna jump on and be like, oh, this is my Broadway debut, and so.
Oh man.
So yeah.
Wow. Well, that'll be definitely to come down the pipe.
Part 2.
Yeah. By the way, I want a shirts t-shirt. I want to see some shirts merchandise out there, because
shirts.
That would be amazing.
I can give you this little teaser. I was in the studio with the shirts recently, so there might be something new.
Oh,
so that was going to be the next question. Like, what can we promote right now outside of that? Or again, a deep dive. It's never, it's never superficial with Annie Golden. It's always something. Our dear archivist, he did my headshots for years. He filmed the shirts. We lost him last summer. In an accident, and he passed away. And so my bass player wrote a song for him in memory of him, and asked me if I would record it. So then we did a video, and now it's just so it's filmmaker John Ross Jr. passed away. So sorry.
And after I lost JR, we lost Treat.
Yeah.
So that was crazy.
Yes.
Everybody watch FX. Truman Capote versus the Swans.
Oh yeah.
It's Treat's last performance.
Yes.
It's glorious.
Yeah.
It's glorious.
Treat was amazing. It's amazing.
Rest in peace. Well, very sorry, but that is very exciting to hear.
Okay, so be on the lookout for that. Well, thank you so much, Annie.
Thank you so much, Annie.
Bye, Dustin. Bye, Zach.
So great having you on.
Thank you so much, guys.